Good morning, everyone, and welcome once again to the Pet Show. Does your golden seem a little grumpy? Is your favorite feline in a bit of a funk? Are you being controlled by your chihuahuas? You know you are. If you love animals, care about wildlife and the environment, and really want to understand your dogs and cats almost as well as they understand you, maybe you're confused about your dog or cat's behavior or just want to improve their lifestyle. If so, you know what to do. Stay tuned because once again, right here, right now, it is time for the Pet Show. America's first and only real pet psychology, pet training, pet behavior, and of course, pet lifestyle show. So hop up on my couch. Bring those furry little buddies with you, folks. It is that time once again to let the animal analyzing begin. Hello, everybody. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is the Pet Show. The place where we absolutely, positively, never a doubt about it, love, adore, and as I stress every single week, respect pets and animals as much as you do. By the way, if you want to join me on the Ever-Growing Pet Show family, and we are a family, if you want to find out why your dog may be a little depressed or your cat scratched your favorite chair, a cat pooped on your bed, your dog is humping everything in sight, you can't take your dog for a walk because he jumps on everyone he sees or pulls you towards another dog, get the idea. That's what the Pet Show's all about. For almost the last we're coming up on 45 years of me talking to you. I must have started real young. But that's what we do here on the Pet Show. No yelling, no screaming. We try to resolve issues that you're having with your dogs and cats, not just by controlling, but trying to figure out why your dog or cat may be behaving a certain way in the beginning. And that's the best way to resolve a problem, is to figure out why the problem is there in the first place. As always, plenty of time for your calls. Lots of great stuff to give away. And if you happen to be new to the show, we give away a lot of stuff on the show for many reasons. Number one, I want to make sure that your dogs and cats are getting the quality items that they deserve. That's number one. And number two is that the products we give away here on the Pet Show are often related to the issue that you're calling me up about. So lots of great stuff to give away on the show, including Lucy pet food, hip to be square dog treats, hugs and kisses, copies of my best-selling books, either dog or cat, those T-shirts that say none of my friends walk upright. Many of the items we give away worth as much as $40 or $50. So if you have a question or a comment, just want to share a story, and I encourage people, if you recently adopted, or it may not even be recently, but if you adopted a dog or cat and have a great story to tell about this wonderful dog or cat that you gave a home to that would have had no other chance without you, give me a call as well. I want to hear from you. And the reason for that is simple. Every week, I get letters and texts from people saying, I heard so-and-so, and they said they fostered this dog, and what a difference it made in terms of finding this dog that forever home. Or they fostered the dog, and they failed and wound up keeping the dog. So if you've adopted a dog, rescued a dog, I want to hear from you guys as well. Encourage other people to do the same. It really can make all the difference in the world. And every single shelter, this week alone, I've talked to shelters in Texas, in Arizona, in Alabama, in New York, in New Jersey. I've seen them all. They all text me every day, and I got to tell you, they're all overwhelmed with the amount of dogs and cats in their shelter. So fostering, adopting, if you've done it, give me a call, let me know. The phone number here, by the way, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. As I said, plenty of time for your calls, lots of great stuff to give away. So if you have a question or you just want to share a great story about your dog or cat, great time to give me a call, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Yes, I am broadcasting from beautiful Arizona. It is hot, hot, hot. Again, it's like 100. I think today's going to be 116 degrees where I am. And people say, how could you deal with it? Well, I'm in the studio. It's air conditioned. I'm in the car. It's air conditioned. I'm in the supermarket. It's air conditioned. So the heat really isn't affecting me. I just hope people are taking into consideration the hot weather and the effect it has on their dogs and cats as well. Again, the number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let me tell you what I have planned for today's show. I coined a phrase many, many, many years ago, and it's kind of my logo now, and that was, none of my friends walk upright, because quite honestly, none of them do. Now, there's a brand new study that may just prove Warren right again. The study suggests that dogs are replacing friends and even partners as BFFs. Is your dog your best friend? Or does your best friend really work upright? None of my friends do. We'll talk about that coming up a little bit later on today's show. Also, I talked about this once before, but I had some questions from listeners. By the way, you can ask questions on my website, thepetshow.com. Go to Ask Warren. Can I answer them all? Obviously not, but I try to answer as many as I can. Bringing that up, is your dog an optimist or is your dog a pessimist? Now, I know it may sound funny, but some dogs really do expect more positive outcomes depending on how they were brought up, while other dogs expect more negative outcomes, pessimist or positive. I would love to hear from you guys on this as well. I mean, it sounds interesting. Dog, optimist, pessimist, but in reality, it's true. Certain dogs, and the way they were brought up, they look at life with negative, and other dogs look at life with positive. I'd like to get your take on that as well. Also, coming up, had a call this week. Actually, I'm lying. I didn't have a call this week. Actually, it was a text this week. And the question came in, Warren, my dog is ignoring me. Why? Why is my dog ignoring me? So if your dog or cat is ignoring you, don't fret. Don't fret now. I'll explain why. And of course, it's me. So I'll tell you, it's not the dog or cat's fault. It's probably yours. Also coming up, is your cat sleeping way too much? A lot of cats sleep a lot, and that's good. But if your cat is sleeping too much, a lot depends on their age, too. We'll talk about that. It could mean something different. As always, plenty of time to answer all of your pet and animal questions. As I said, lots of great stuff to give away. Plenty of time for your comments. So if your pet is chewing, jumping, scratching, confused about the litter box, that beautiful rescue dog may not be housebroken. Your dog doesn't get along with other dogs, doesn't get along with everybody either, and he believes everything he sees has got a hump. Give me a call, 866-870-5752, 866-870-KRLA. That is the way to get through. Plenty of time for your calls, lots of great stuff to give away. And I thought about the question this week. What question should I ask? So I kind of have this question. I don't have pet insurance for my pets. I don't. Not against it, but I don't. I have a separate account set aside. I want to get your take on this. How many of my listeners out there do, in fact, have pet insurance for their dogs and cats? And what has your experience been? I get details from people, listeners all across the country, Canada, Guam. Some swear by it. Some swear at it. I'd like to get your take on pet insurance. Has it been beneficial to you or not? Give me a call. If you get through and I talk to you, I'll send your dog a great gift. The phone number, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through to the show. And as I said, plenty of time because lots of great stuff to give away here on the Pet Show. I think I'm allergic to the heat. Let me just wipe my nose here. Plenty of time because lots of great stuff to give away. Just this week, I'm living in Arizona now, and behind my house is a trail into the woods. And I guess a couple of doors down on the other side of the trail, some neighbors got a new dog. I wish they would have adopted, but it appears that it's a Labrador Retriever that they got from a breeder. Their option. I'm not an abolitionist, but I think they should have adopted. Anyway, for the last week, and you know me, I'm an early riser, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning I'm up, and all I hear is, go potty. Go potty. Let's go. Go potty. Hurry up. Go potty. Go. And they're yelling at this puppy to go to the bathroom outside. And I'm saying to myself, the more you get angry at the dog, the more anxious the dog's going to get, and the less apt he's going to go to pee and poop outside. He's anxious. He's nervous. He's not going to do it. So I was kind of in a debate with myself. Should I go over? These people don't know who I am. Should I go over? And should I explain to them? Should I leave a copy of the book on their porch? Should I explain to them they're doing something wrong? And you can't do that. You can't do that because everyone out there is an expert now, and I'm sure they've gotten advice from the breeder and advice from this one and advice from a trainer and advice. This poor dog is going to get confused. Although the good news is, this morning when I got up, it was around 4:30, 5 o'clock, I went outside and they said, good boy, you went potty outside, so maybe they're on the right track. But you never accomplish anything positive by being negative with your pets, yelling, screaming, getting angry at them. They don't comprehend that. So anger is never a way to get a response from your dog or cat. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. Let's start out in Oxnard today. Let's go to my friend Daniel. Hey, Daniel, welcome to the show.
Hi, Warren. I've got an apartment. I've got 2 cats, and I just want to know that do I have to worry about fleas?
Everyone has to worry about fleas. When the world comes to an end and Armageddon does take place, cockroaches and fleas will survive, guaranteed. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that when you're treating your pets, you treat the environment at the same time. I'm assuming you listen to the pet show, so they're indoor cats, correct?
They're indoors, yes.
Okay, so indoors.
Yes.
Okay, good. So have you noticed any fleas? Have you noticed increased scratching, anything like? Here's what you do.
No.
You look like you're pretty much on target. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go out today or go online. You missed Prime Day. And I want you to get yourself a flea comb. Okay? And every day, just take the flea comb, run it down the cats, tap the flea comb on a white paper towel. If you see black specks, put a little water on them. If they turn red, then you have fleas. But if your cats aren't reacting to fleas, I think at this point you're okay. The other thing that you can do is take the cat, roll them around in a white towel, and again, if you notice those black specks, put on some moisture, and if they turn red. So it sounds to me like you're pretty much in target. The most important thing that you can do right now, though, is make sure that you test them every day, because once you get one flea, there's going to be more fleas. And a little trick that I do, I am not a believer at all in flea collars. But I want you to do this. I want you to get a flea collar, and don't put it anywhere near your cats. Take the flea collar, cut it into pieces, put it into your vacuum cleaner bag or your vacuum cleaner.
No, I got hardwood floors. I don't have a vacuum.
Well, I would vacuum still, because, fleas can get between the cracks in hardwood as well, even if it's sealed good. So you can try the vacuum cleaner with the flea collar if you want. If not, follow my advice. It sounds to me like you're on target, but the minute you notice fleas, you got to take some type of action.
Okay, thank you.
Don't go anywhere. Let me ask you a question. Have you had pet insurance for your cats?
No, I don't think I need it.
Well, maybe you don't. We're going to talk more about that a little bit later. Anyway, let me do this. Let me put you on hold, and I am going to send you, for your cat, I am going to send you some Lucy Pet kitty lickies on their way to you, and give those kitties a big hug and a kiss. And let's stay flea-free. That's the approach. But I got to tell you, between the heat and the rain and the humidity this year, this is going to be a flea nirvana. There's going to be a lot of, I do the show after this, and I get a lot of calls from Florida and Tennessee and Texas and Oklahoma, and this flea season is going to be absolutely atrocious. Hey, the phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. The question of the day is a pretty simple one this week. It's not behavioral. I just want to find out if you've been successful or not successful with pet insurance. A lot of people get it, and I'm going to give a list later. What was that? The top, I think it was let me take a look. The top five or six pet insurers listed. We'll take a look at that later on. But I want to get your take on it, because you're the people that use them. They can send me their PR. I get PR every day from this insurance company and that insurance company. We're the best. We're the greatest. We cover everything. And it turns out that's not so true. So I want to hear directly, straight from the horse's mouth, but from my listener's mouth. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. Let me do this. Let me take a break. When we come back, Allie and John will get right to you. 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. Hey, listen, guys. You got to smile when you hear the theme for Captain Kangaroo. I grew up watching Captain Kangaroo. I told you before I got to know Bob Keeshan pretty well. Interesting guy, interesting show. I think that was my first exposure to loving animals. And for a lot of people, a lot of the shows we watched growing up, at least my generation, whether it be My Friend Flicka, Fury, Sky King, Rin Tin Tin, Lassie. What am I leaving out here? Come on, Warren, you're leaving out a bunch of them. Anyway, the bottom line is it encouraged me in terms of the relationship people have with animals. Even at a young age, I was watching, and I would go in my backyard, I told you, and I would play Corporal Rusty, and my German Shepherd would play Rin Tin Tin. And I don't know, I don't see that anymore. I don't see that same type of programming for kids anymore, hopefully. I see a lot of animated stuff for kids in terms of loving animals. I like to see more one-on-ones. Hey, the phone number here, 866-870-KRLA. We'll get right back to the phones, John and Allie. But before I do that, 866-870-5752. At the top of the show, I mentioned one of my topics is going to be, is your dog ignoring you? And you might be laughing at that. Come on, Warren, really? I'm going to talk about this subject a little bit later. It's not a fun subject. It's actually a serious subject, especially for people that have adopted or fostered certain dogs. And we're going to talk about that later on in the show as well. But is your dog ignoring you, or is your cat ignoring you? There's some legitimate reasons for that, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. And they're not so much fun. And it's not so much a goof. A lot of people say, my dog's ignoring. Well, there's more to it than that. Great time to give me a call. I got lots of great stuff to give away. I got hugs and kisses to give away. They're back in stock. I got Lucy pet food, kitty lickies. I got those T-shirts. God, those T-shirts. None of my friends walk upright T-shirts. I can't keep those in stock. Check those out. All natural flea spray. Lots of great stuff to give away. 866-870-KRLA. I want to hear from some people that had either good experience or bad experience with pet insurance. Your calls to me can encourage or maybe discourage other people from investing in pet insurance. A good idea or bad idea. Later on, I'm going to tell you about the different types of pet insurance and which insurance companies were listed as the better companies. Not endorsing or recommending any one. This is just from an article I pulled. Do have a couple of open lines, 866-870-5752. Let me do this first. Let me go to Allie, and then I want to go to John with an insurance response. But right now, let me go to Allie in Burbank. Hi, Allie. Welcome to the Pet Show.
Hi. Well, I wanted to call to honor my beautiful rescue dog. She was our puppy that we got for Christmas for our kids.
Yeah.
Are you there?
I'm listening. Yeah, Allie, you with me?
Oh, man.
Allie,
I've been
are you with
holding...
me?
Oh, hey.
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, good.
Allie.
Well, I'm just...
Oh, Allie. Where'd you go, Allie?
Oh, I've been here this whole time, but that's okay. I just wanted to call to honor my my beautiful rescue doggie.
Well, tell me about your rescue dog. You got him for Christmas. Is his name Noel or Santa or anything like that?
No. She there's a rescue foster home in Burbank, California. Our Burbank animal shelter is often quite full, and so these guys. Apparently, they foster doggies when the shelter is full. So they gave her a name, and we kept it. It was adorable. Her name is Katie, and she's just fantastic. We wanted a puppy for the girls for Christmas, and but I wasn't going to buy a puppy. I didn't want to buy a puppy. It just didn't feel right.
Yeah, especially when the shelters are so overwhelmed.
Exactly. And so I just looked around and I thought, okay, if it's meant to be, we'll find the right one nearby. And she was rescued along with her mom and 5 siblings. And so she got to be with her mama and her siblings for a good 3 months. And then she came to live with us, and she's just absolutely amazing.
So tell me about Katie. What type of dog is Katie? How old is Katie now? And I can tell right off how much you love her.
So
I know.
We've tried to figure out what kind of dog she is. Apparently, somebody who adopted one of her brothers did some sort of genetic test. She's got some boxer. She's got some lab. She's got some pit. Bull terrier.
Can I tell you a funny story about that genetic test?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people swear by it, but recently there was a major journalist in Massachusetts that had a dog, and she sent in the dog's sample, and it came back telling the dog this was part this was part that, part this. Then she said, I'm going to test it a little bit further. So she sent in a sample of her own, her human sample. And she came back as part Dachshund, part Schnauzer, part Cocker Spaniel. So I kind of lost my faith a little bit in those. I kind of look at a dog. And I say, you know what? That's what I see. Do I see this? Do I see that? And you know what?
She has the
honestly,
cute little underbite. She has some speckles. She has some, ears with dots on them. She's just. So
quite honestly, Allie, she could have one leg, one eye. Once you fall in love with the inside, once you fell in love with Katie, who cares what she is?
Yeah. Honestly, it was love at first sight. There you go. I had never had a puppy before, and I just, I couldn't I couldn't resist. She just
Sounds
loved
like
me, and I
sounds
loved
like
her.
you're in love. I was just gonna say, it sounds like you're in love, Allie.
Yeah, my girls are in love, and my husband. I think she's my husband's new girlfriend.
Really? And I've had people actually call me up. I actually did a segment on the Today Show years ago, and I felt like Mommy Dearest. There was a woman on with her fiance, and she had this beautiful dog for years, and her fiance wanted her to get rid of the dog. And I'm there with Al Roker at the time, and I forget who else was hosting at the point. And this it almost got into a fist fight on the air between him and her when I said that she's right. I told her, if he doesn't want you to be happy and have your dog that you've had for so many years, my suggestion to you would be to put him in a shelter. I don't think she liked that response on my part. Anyway, a great call. Give Katie a big hug and a kiss. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put you on hold, and the lovely Suzette's going to pick up, and I'm going to send you a jar of my own Hugs and Kisses vitamin mineral supplement treats for your buddy Katie, and I really do appreciate that call. That number, 866-870-KRLA. John, I'm going to have to take a break, but after I take that break, I want to come back and get your experience with pet insurance. And by the way, that goes out there to everyone. Do you have pet insurance for your dog or cat? Has it worked well for you? Maybe not so well. Give me a call. I got plenty of time to answer your questions. I got a couple of open lines, pretty rare here on the show. Lots of great stuff to give away as well. The question of the day is pretty simple. Your experience with insurance companies. Anyone out there have a dog or cat that's ignoring them? I want to talk about that. And it sounds like a funny topic. My dog's ignoring me. What do I do? But it's not so funny. Not so funny. You'll hear my take on it coming back a little bit later. As always, plenty of time. Also coming up on the show, and this is kind of an important topic as well. You know that on my shirts, everything I do, my logo is none of my friends walk upright. I do have some friends that walk upright, but I got to be honest with you. The closest relationships I've ever had have always been with those that don't walk upright. They're honest, they're sincere, and they've never borrowed $10 and not paid me back. That's why I love animals. Just one of the many, many reasons I do. So we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to tell you why I believe why dogs are now replacing human beings as BFFs. We'll talk about that. Plenty of time for your calls. Lots of amazing stuff. I got Hugs and Kisses back in stock. I got Lucy Pet Food. I have Kitty Lickies. I have Doggy Lickies now available. I got the T-shirts. Plenty of time for your calls. Lots of great stuff to give away. I also want to find out from some people out there, when you adopted or rescued your dog or cat, what did you do? I mean, did you fall in love right away? Did it take you time? Were you upset? Did you think you made a mistake at the beginning? I'd love to hear from you. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Quick break, then right back to your phone calls. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. We're back on The Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. Great time to give me a call. The phone number here at The Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA. 866-870-5752. Some great calls coming. I just hope you guys are really patient with me. I want to get to all your calls. Nikki, Cynthia, great calls coming in. So be patient, because your calls reflect what a lot of other people are thinking. So we're talking to thousands and thousands of people that may be in a situation like yours. So hang in there. I will get to your calls, I promise. But right now, let's go to my friend John in Lancaster. Hey, John, welcome to The Pet Show.
Hey, bud. How are you?
I am doing great, John. How about yourself?
Oh, wonderful. Just sitting in this parking lot they named the 405.
That's one of the reasons I live in Arizona now.
Right on. Yeah, so, hey, I've got pet insurance for both my dogs and my parrots, two different companies.
Yeah.
For the most part, good experience. A couple years ago, about 4 years ago, one of my Frenchies started experiencing spinal issues. It wasn't debilitating until like 2 years ago, where she just completely lost the use of her back legs overnight, where her vet said, bring her in. She needs to go, we're going to do some tests, and we might need to send her to the surgeon right now. So I take him in, and he looks at me and he goes, okay, we need an MRI. That's $3,500. She absolutely needs surgery, or she'll lose her back legs. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's a lot of money. Right, so I'm like, but she's got health insurance through, may I mention the name of the insurance?
Sure, go
ahead. Through Trupanion.
Okay.
So she'd met her deductible for Trupanion for that issue, because they have a deductible per issue, and we can explain that afterwards if you like. But so they get the neurologist on the phone. They send all my information to Trupanion. Trupanion, check this shit out, authorizes on the spot the surgery. I drive the dog over there, and she's in surgery within an hour.
That's a great response. You know, it's interesting because out of the best pet insurance companies for 2024, they're not on my list. That's interesting. So I have to check that out a little bit further. Yeah. So in other words, so your experience for the most part, but your experience for the most part has been positive.
Yeah, you got to stay on top of them. So the Trupanion does something interesting where they want a deductible per issue. So my other friend, she jumped off the couch one time and split one nail, right?
Yeah.
So that has a $250 deductible. Well, if she jumps off the couch and splits another nail, she's got, 20 nails. That's 20 different deductibles. I'm like, that's kind of nitpicky, but that's what they do.
Yeah.
So, my other friend, she's got issues with allergies. And if your doctor doesn't on his notes write that it's allergies, when they're reviewing your statement for payment, they will say, well, this is another issue. It needs to go to that deductible. So you got to also stay on top of your vet and make.
All right. So I don't want to run out of John. I don't want to run out of time. So the bottom line is this, okay? If you're getting pet insurance, it's imperative that you study the policy really carefully, find out the deductibles that are around, find out what they cover, what they don't cover. I'm going to go through the different types of pet insurance because a lot of people don't realize that pet insurance comes in a couple of different varieties, and many people will just take the plan, well, this is less expensive, I'm going to go this way, or that's more expensive. Let me do this, okay? Let me do this right now.
Right, and I would call it an exclusionary policy than an inclusionary policy instead.
Okay, Here's the scenario. The three main types of pet insurance are accident-only plans, where the dog or cat is covered in case of an accident only. There's the accident and illness plans. There's add-ons, where you can add other things on. And then there's wellness plans, which include things like, preventative-type maintenance as well. So the bottom line is I think it's really critical that before someone gets pet insurance for their pet, and some people swear by it, some people swear at it, before you get pet insurance, you really check it out thoroughly, check it out carefully, and see if it works for you. John, I got to move on, so I'm going to put you on hold. And a great call, by the way. We're going to send John a T-shirt. Personally, people always ask me, do I have pet insurance for Molly and Willie? And the answer is no, I don't. Not that I'm against pet insurance. I think it's a great idea for some people, and I may get it in the future. I don't know. But right now, there's a separate account where money can go into. So if I get a real expensive veterinary bill, I can just go into that account and deduct it from there, and I just kind of pay that account what I would be paying for my insurance. But that's an option people have. I'm going to talk more about insurance coming up a little bit later. But right now, let me get back to the busy phone lines here. We got Cynthia in Santa Clarita. Hey, Cynthia, welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you so much for taking my call, Warren.
What's up today?
I am adopting a baby ferret. He's coming home on Monday, and I've got a dog, a small dog, and I want to know how to introduce him properly.
When the ferret comes home, have the ferret give a box of candy to... No, I'm just joking with you. What I want you to do is where's the ferret now?
The ferret, a friend of mine is bringing it home from Las Vegas.
When are they coming back?
On Monday.
Okay, so it's going to be the same day the ferret comes back from Las Vegas that's going to be introduced to your dog.
Yes.
I wish we had a little bit more time. I'd get the scent of the ferret over to the dog, the scent of the dog over to the ferret.
I know.
We can't do that.
Swapping. I do
Here's the most important thing to remember. The initial meeting is probably the most important. So you need to make sure whatever makes your dog feel like he just hit the lottery, whatever that is, a treat, a massage, a toy, whatever, best friend being over there, you just make sure that from the minute that ferret comes into the house, basically that the dog is getting a lot of positive attention and it's not being just focused on the ferret. Let me give you a little bit more advice here, okay? You say it's a young ferret coming into the house, a baby ferret. It would be a whole different approach approach that I would take if it was an adult ferret. And the reason for that is dogs and cats and most animals can pick up on the fact if something is an infant or if something is very, very young, generally because there's a higher percentage of potassium in their body, whatever the reason may be. But the most important thing to remember is from minute one, positive reaction. Make sure the dog has plenty of distractions coming in. Maybe some friends of yours should come over that the dog loves. As long as that initial reaction is positive and every reaction after that for short periods of time is positive, your ferret and your dog should become best buddies.
Well, thank you. And I have another question.
Sure, go ahead.
When my ferret first comes to the house, should I immediately introduce them, or should I maybe keep the ferret in? I have a large room, but by itself, and get the scent from the ferret.
If you have that opportunity, if you have another room to put the ferret in right now, get the scent of the ferret, introduce the scent of the ferret to the dog, and vice versa. That might be really beneficial. But then the other terms follow that advice as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Warren.
No, thank you, Cynthia. What's your dog's name?
Bobo.
Bobo. That was my first dog. My father's first dog. My father had a dog in the military when he was over in Australia. It was Bobo. So every dog that came into my house, except for my first shepherd, my mom named Bobo too. Anyway, Cynthia, don't go anywhere. I'm going to put you on hold. And the lovely Suzette, we're going to get Suzette. What do we want to give? What do we want to give her? We're going to give her. She has a dog. You know what? I am going to send you some doggy lickies. Doggy lickies on their way to you from my good friends over at Lucy Pet. Hey, the phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let me take a break. When we come back, Sue, I want to get to you in Whittier about your cat losing its hair. I want to get to Nikki and Torrance. We'll get to all your calls. And Nikki, you got a great call coming in. It's something that a lot of people have to deal with, and a lot of pets have to deal with, and they don't know what to do. So we'll talk about that. Plenty of time to answer all of your pet and animal questions. Lots of great stuff to give away. When I come back, I'm going to talk a little bit about dog ignoring you. And, people, come on, Warren, dog ignoring me? Yeah, well, there's a lot to truth to this. We're going to talk about that. Plus, I still want to find out from some more people about dog or cat insurance. Do you have insurance for your pets? Has it been successful for you? Not successful for you? Give me a call. Let me know. Again, that number, 866-870-5752. Quick break. When we come back, it's going to be Nikki and Sue, and then we do have an open line as well. Hey, next time, subscribe. It's free. I'll post this week. It kind of sounded like an interesting, funny type thing, but I really delved into it a little bit for you. Pets ignore their people for many different reasons. Some people think it's fun. My dog or cat just ignore. But listen to me carefully. Because they've learned that interacting can be unpredictable or scary, whether from past abuse, neglect, or because some pets are naturally more introverted. So sometimes your dog or cat may be ignoring you, but they're ignoring you because of experiences they've had in the past. For example, some dogs, when they pay attention to someone, they get overly corrected or yelled at or pushed aside, or worse. Those are the type of dogs that are kind of realize that attention or can be unpredictable, and therefore they ignore you. So there's reasons for it. It breaks my heart, especially when you have a dog or a cat that comes into a home that's been adopted by one of my amazing listeners that has this ignoring thing. And people get frustrated. Well, I gave this dog a great home. He's ignoring me. I gave this cat a great home. He's ignoring me. Give him some time. Give him some time. Let him readjust. We don't know what his background may have been. Maybe every time someone approached him, it was in a negative. Positive, hugging and kissing. He'll come around, I promise. So if your dog or cat's ignoring you, it's not a big deal. Just let them reestablish their relationship with you. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. Let's go to Nikki and Torrance first. Hey, Nikki, welcome to the show.
Hi, Warren. Thank you for taking my call. I'm calling regarding my little man, my Chow Beijing. I got him and his sister 13 years ago out of the litter of 5. And the purpose was so they could keep each other company.
Sure.
Well, Coco passed away about a month ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And while, at 13, Beijing is, a little slower, but he's still a lovely, handsome guy. I'm concerned as to whether he's lonely. Should I get another dog? Or, those types of dogs are very independent and pretty much on their, usually
I'm
on their own.
very familiar with. I'm very familiar. Very familiar with the chow, okay? Let me explain the chows. Going back many years ago, the first chows that came into the United States, the first one belonged to a woman by the name of Carol and Milton Petrie. They owned the Petrie stores if you lived in the Midwest. And so I actually got to work with one of the first chows when I came into the U.S. At that point, they were considered the rarest breed in the world. And just an amazing breed of dog. Now, it all depends on the dog. Is the dog the type of dog that gets along well with other dogs or perhaps not? Does he?
Well, he's always had his sister, like I said. But
what about other dogs? What about other dogs? What about other dogs?
Well, usually when they were at daycare, they always stuck together.
So they've not been exposed to a lot of other dogs independently?
No, they have been to daycare. We've taken them to daycare where there are other dogs around. But as brother and sister, they always stuck together.
Okay, let me put it this way to you. There's no right or wrong answer here. For some dogs, just like some people, when they lose a friend or a family member, it's okay for them to establish another relationship. For other people, it's not the right thing for them. So for me to judge and say it's the right thing, for example, for certain dogs, certain older dogs, when they lose a best friend like that, bringing a second dog in, even if it's an adversary relationship at the beginning, would be different. But the fact that the dog is 13 years old at this point, I'm not so sure it's the best idea. What I would try to do is when you take him for a walk, if there's neighbors that have other dogs that he may have seen before, see if that relationship is still there. If not, let him go on. I'm not so sure if it's a good idea at 13 years old to bring another dog into the home.
Yeah, I was a little concerned about that, but then again, I was also concerned about him being by himself.
Just make sure you listen, you're grieving the loss of the chow.
Yeah.
He's grieving the loss of his best friend. Grieve together, have the conversation, and maybe call me back in a couple of weeks and let me know how he's doing. If he seems a little out of it, maybe I'll change my mind. But at this point, I think you're better off just kind of keeping him, maybe introducing him to other dogs in the neighborhood, but I don't think I'd be bringing another dog into the home at this point.
I think I am totally in agreement with you. And unfortunately, as you probably well know, Warren, these are not dogs. Chow Chows don't like toys. He doesn't like toys. He doesn't play with toys. So it's not like getting a new toy.
Well, then you need to give him a little massage every day. I got to move on. So I'm going to put you on hold. I'm sending you a jar of my own Hugs and Kisses supplements to keep that 13-year-old chow healthy. I remember when I first came in, the Petries, Carol and Milton Petrie, very, very wealthy people, lived at the penthouse apartment at the Carlisle Hotel in New York City. I would show up in my fatigue shirt, my army shirt. I think that's all I had at the time. An incredible breed of dog, the chow. I got to work with some overseas as well. And a little independent breed. But again, I just met a chow the other day on my walk here in Arizona that gets along with every other dog, plays with toys. So it's hard to make those big Archie Bunker type statements. But sometimes there are certain breeds that are more known to be playful than other breeds. But I think what you put in is often what you get out as well. Let me do this. Let me take a quick break. Sue, I'm going to get to you, I promise. Tila, I'm going to get to you, I promise, as well. The phone number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Quick break, then right back to your calls. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. We are back on The Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. That phone number, 866-870-KRLA. We have a whole other hour to go. Sue... Let me take Sue first. Tila, you'll be my first call next hour. I want to get to your call, but right now let me go to Sue. Hey, Sue, welcome to... I felt like saying, hey, Sue, how do you do? Hey, Sue, how can I help you today?
Okay, I have a cat, a black cat. She's about 16. Her mom passed away several months ago.
Yeah.
And I noticed that I just put on her flea medicine today, but she's been losing hair, scratching, and I'm just wondering, the vet said she has hypothyroidism.
Yeah, did he put her on medication?
What? Yeah, I've got the medication coming.
Okay, well, that's that. In other words, the loss of hair, the loss of hair and the thyroid can go hand in hand. So your vet's right on target, doing what he can be doing. However, that being said, you said you had another cat, and the other cat passed away, correct?
Yes, that was about 6 months ago.
Okay, but 6 months is not that long in a cat's world. So I want you to remember this, okay? There's something called alopecia, which is losing hair due to stress or anxiety. It happens to people, it happens to pets as well. So I'm glad that your vet is taking a close look, and he did that thyroid test, and he's going to get the cat rather, on thyroid medication. But also something that you need to consider, and something that the vet would consider as well, is the fact that the stress that you're going through, the stress that the cat's going through, having lost your best friend, could cause a lot of anxiety, which could also cause the loss of hair. With a 16-year-old cat, I kind of think it's more on that thyroid situation, anything else. But again, it could be a combination of that in conjunction with stress as well. So I would wait for the thyroid medication, see if that doesn't make any difference. I think it will, and then give me a call back. We'll go from there.
I just have one more thing. On one of the things you sent was some dry food, and then the Lucy sardine and tuna recipe and gravy, a little can. And she loves it, but I don't know how to reorder it. I tried.
I got to move on. I'm going to put you on hold, and we can't send you any more if we sent you, but I'm going to, Suzette, can you tell her how to get to LucyPetProducts.com, LucyPetProducts.com? You can order it right there, or you can go to many of the pet stores locally. I'm going to break for the top of the hour. Tilly, you'll be my first call, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. I'm Warren Eckstein. You're listening. If you love your dogs and cats, I'm assuming you do. You're listening to The Pet Show. I want to find out why they behave the way they do, jumping, humping, digging, scratching, not using the litter box, pulling you down the block, don't get along with other dogs, the cat's not thrilled with the new cat that moved in. If you have a question or a comment, or just want to share a great story about your dog or cat, if you rescued one, let me know. Give me a call. If you get through to me and we talk live on the air, a great gift will be on its way for your best friend. Many of the items I give away worth as much as $40 or $50. Phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752, 866-870-KRLA. That is the way to get through. Plenty of time for your calls, and as I said, lots of great stuff to give away. We have some hugs and kisses for your dogs. We got copies of my best-selling books. We got those T-shirts that say, "None of my friends walk upright," Lucy Pet Food, kitty lickies, doggy lickies, lots of great stuff to give away. If you have a question or a comment, great time to give me a call. The phone number again here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA. And I want to get your take on this. We got one caller. I expect more people. Do you have pet insurance for your dog or cat? I get so many people saying, "Warren, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it?" I need your input. So if you have pet insurance for your dog or pet insurance for your cat, give me a call. Let me know how it's working for you. If you're happy about it, if you're thrilled about it, or if you hate it, that information might be really helpful to other people as well. And I will send you a great gift at the same time. So the phone number again, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Still coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about a new study that says our dogs are replacing our BFFs. I know it sounds funny, but there's a legitimate reason for that. We're going to talk about that. Optimistic, pessimistic, we talked about that as well. We talked about the concept of your dog ignoring. In terms of that optimistic or pessimistic approach, one of the things I just want to share with you, I'll get right to you, Tila. One of the things I want to share with you, and it breaks my heart to do this, is that some dogs are inherently more optimistic than others, just like people. Now, I'm putting this up on YouTube as well. A study to gauge whether or not dogs expect more positive outcomes in their life or more negative outcomes. It measures positive and negative emotional states in dogs objectively and non-invasively. Optimistic dogs are more adventurous and persistent because they expect positive outcomes to result from their efforts. Pessimistic dogs, on the other hand, were more risk-averse and cautious, not expecting things to go their way. I guess it's kind of similar to people in that way. If the dog has had good results, they're going to be more optimistic. But if the dog's had bad results, it's going to be more pessimistic. And it breaks my heart. I would absolutely say now that I have probably worked with so many dogs that were more on the pessimistic side. And I'm not bragging, and I'm sure there are many people out there. If you've had one, give me a call as well. Where once you start loving them and once they start realizing that being around you and things around them are good, that pessimistic approach turns into an optimistic approach. It also depends on you. Very often if I'm working with a person that's pessimistic, it goes from one end of the leash to the other. pessimist or optimist, give me a call. I'd love to hear from you. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let me start out with a call. My friend Tila in Atlanta, Georgia, has been holding on, so let's start off with her. Hey, Tila, welcome to the Pet Show.
Hey there.
Hi, Tila. Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks. I appreciate you taking my call. So I wanted to tell you on the pet insurance thing, I take care of a bunch of pets, so I don't have one of my own anymore. And everyone who has pet insurance of the pets I've taken care of have been thrilled that they've had it. It has saved some of them thousands upon thousands of dollars.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Could be that that's not always the case with somebody, but all the ones that I know personally, it's been a blessing.
Well, glad to hear that, Tila. Glad to hear that.
Okay, so now the thing I'm calling about is another dog that my friend has. I've called about this dog before, but there's a new development. The dog has the SARS, the sudden acquired retinal degeneration syndrome. So
so he's losing his sight. Losing his sight.
Yeah, it's really sad. It's really fast, and so she doesn't see. She just bumps into everything. She'll walk right into you continually because she's right at your leg. But basically now what she does is between the owner of the dog, which is the grown daughter, and the mother of the daughter, whenever the two of them are speaking and the dog is with them, which is going to always be with one of them, the dog will not stop barking. The daughter can't come over to the mom and dad's house anymore with the dog because she just barks when those two only are speaking. I went and visited last week or week before last and carried a dog I was taking care of. She did great with that dog, and she did no barking between the two of us talking. But as soon as I got ready to leave, then she came unglued and started barking out of nowhere. But she never barked between the lady and I. So they don't know what to do because they'd love for her to be able to come there. But as long as the daughter and the mother are in the same house, she just stands there barking.
How old is the dog, Tila?
I'm going to say she's I'm guessing 7 or 8 years old is what I'm guessing. I should have asked her that.
Now, when a dog all of a sudden starts losing their visual abilities, there are other things that are going to take place. And when you're not feeling the same as you felt when you were 100%, you always want to react around the people that you feel closest to. Now, the fact that this dog feels really close to the mother and the daughter and gets excited when they're together, the barking is kind of her way, her excitement, and getting their attention, because their attention is more important than anybody else's attention. So how do we resolve that? Some people would get angry at the dog. Shut up, knock it off, be quiet. No. This poor dog is going through a really traumatic experience by losing its vision at this point. So I'm going to give you a couple of different tips. Number one is what I would do is I would really record a recording between the mother and the daughter. At the mother's house specifically, what I would do is have that tape, or I'll put it online, and when you're sitting around, just play it at a very low volume, barely audible, till the dog realizes the mother and daughter are talking. And because it's at a low volume, the dog's not going to react, and over a period of time, increase it to, again, build up the dog's confidence where he's not barking so much to get their attention. So that's approach number one. Number two, the fact that he's losing his sight, let's make life a little bit easier for him, okay? Over the years, I've had the amazing opportunity of working with many visually challenged dogs. One of the things I've been able to do is you can go out and you can get cardboard boxes. And what you do with the cardboard boxes, you can actually make alleyways within the home. So when the dog walks certain ways where it used to be able to see and it's not seeing anymore, if it's bumping into something, it's bumping into a cardboard box, which is going to move a little bit and not hurt him. Then after a couple of weeks of the cardboard boxes, it's amazing of the ability that the dog will have to pick up on the trails that it should be taken, and you can get rid of the boxes at that point. So keeping it as safe as you possibly can would be really beneficial. And obviously, you want to be on top of the dog all the time if you take them outside or whatever. But again, I want them to understand, I don't want you to over baby the dog, but at the same time, I want you to take into consideration the changes that this poor dog is going through and to accommodate those changes. Number one, in terms of the barking, I'm not so sure that because he's starting to lose his sight, that his hearing is becoming much more sharper. And very often that happens when you lose one of his senses, the other senses become stronger. And if therefore that's causing more of the barking between mother and daughter, or if it's just a matter of confusion. So follow my advice on that. It should be beneficial. I've worked, as I said, with many, many dogs, and he should come around. And did they say he's going to be totally blind at any point?
Dog pretty much is blind now. She's blind.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's important. The other thing you want to
fast.
do. Yeah, the other thing you want to do all at this point is start getting the dog to react to a voice, a lot of voice reaction versus visual reaction. I think that would be beneficial also.
Okay, great. Thank you for your help.
Tila, what a great friend you are, and you have no dogs of your own right now.
Well, no, not for many years. I sold my house in 2015 just because I didn't need it anymore. Just going house to house, taking care of pets, different states, and
Oh, God.
I just don't need it. So I can't have my own, but everybody's pet is like my own.
There, that's exactly the way. What a lovely lady you are. Listen, Teal, don't go in there. I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to send you a copy of How to Get Your Dog to Do What You Want, and I appreciate that phone call. Great time to give me a call. I do have a couple of open lines, not too usual on the Pet Show. So if you have a question or comment about your dog or cat, or want to react to doggy insurance, or whether or not your dog is optimistic or pessimistic, give me a call. Again, the number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. Bruce, we're going to get to you in just a second. Before we do that, though, let me share this with you a little bit as well. There was a list that came out. We talked about pet insurance and whether you like it or not. I expected more people to say pet insurance was great or pet insurance sucked. I wanted to hear from you guys. So, because, we have thousands of people listening and sitting kind of on the board. Should we get pet insurance? Should we not get pet insurance? So I hope there's some more calls to come in terms of pet insurance and letting my listeners know whether they believe it's a good idea or not. So great time to give me a call. The phone number, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. So let me do this. Here's a list of the what was considered by some the best insurance companies of 2024. Number 10 was an insurance company called the Paw Protect. Paw Protect is the best insurance, they say, for alternative therapies. They may cover like hydrotherapy and massage therapy and laser therapy. It's called Paw Protect. The other one on top of that, so number 9 would be Fetch. They have bonus perks. Embrace, they say, is the best pet insurance company for multiple pets. Lemonade, best for fast claims processing. Healthy Paws, by the way, they say is best for cats and kittens. Healthy Paws. FIGO, best for quick accident coverage. And Pets Best, number 1, best for dogs and puppies. So I'd love to hear from people if you had experience with any of these companies, if they've been good or bad or indifferent. Give me a call. I'd love to hear from you. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. I still have some hugs and kisses to give away. I got some kitty lickies to give away. I got copies of my books to give away. I got doggy lickies to give away. I have Lucy pet food to give away. I got those T-shirts that say none of my friends walk upright. I got those to give away as well. Again, the number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. I'd also like to hear from some people, and this is something I want to toss out to you guys. I had a conversation this week on a different radio host talking about adopted dogs. And I know that most of my listeners have rescued or adopted their dogs. So let me toss this out to you guys at the same time. When people go to a shelter or a rescue and they see a dog behaving a certain way and they bypass that dog because it's not reacting the way they think a dog should react, should that dissuade them from adopting that dog or fostering that dog? So many dogs that I've worked with over the years, and so many of my own dogs, when you see them at the shelter or you see them at the rescue or strays on the street, their reactions, their personalities are so entirely different than their instinct and their intuitive personalities or their real personalities. And so many times, and it breaks my heart, when you go to a shelter, you can look in the eyes of these dogs. The eyes are the mirror to the soul. You can look into the eyes of these dogs or cats, and you can tell what absolutely amazing pets they would turn out to be What amazing family members they would turn out to be if they were only given a shot. So if anyone out there has rescued or adopted a dog, and when they saw it at the shelter was one way, and then after they got it home and gave it the opportunity to decompress and adapt, they saw an entirely different dog or cat. I'd love to hear from you guys as well. And here's why. Almost every shelter I've been dealing with the last couple of weeks, whether it be the shelter in Prescott, Arizona, or the shelters in California or New York or Connecticut or Texas or Florida, every one of these shelters is overwhelmed. They're filled to the brim with dogs and cats that need homes. And very often, the greatest dogs and cats, which in my opinion, they're all great dogs and cats, are the ones that are bypassed. I'm not taking that dog because he's a black dog. I'm not taking that cat because it looks like this, or that cat has one ear that looks... No. I want to hear from people that can get past the visualization of what a dog or cat looks like. And once they get it home, it's a whole different ballgame. I personally had as many 30 dogs at one time. Can I describe their looks? Probably not. Does that make me a bad person? No, it doesn't make me a bad person. Why? Because I'm more into what their inside is all about. I can tell you about every one of their personalities, their quirks, what every one of them loves to eat, how they like to play. But in terms of their specific looks, after a couple of weeks, who cares? Who cares what they look like? I know there are certain people out there that want a specific breed, and fine. As I said, I'm not an abolitionist. If that's what you want is a purebred with a specific breed, let me just reiterate that there are 25% of dogs at shelters are purebred dogs, and there are purebred rescues for almost every breed that are out there. But really? How important is appearance versus the inside of a dog or cat to you? God. Just my opinion. I don't went off on a tangent there, but just the way I feel. 866-870-CAROL. Let me take a break. We'll get back to you, Bruce, in just a second. 866-870-5752. Am I a little overly emotional when it comes to pets? Maybe I am. But do you guys agree with me that who cares what their dog looks like once you've got them home and you've fallen in love with them and their personality? Where did the looks really come into play? Is it that important that someone says to you, oh, what a beautiful dog? I don't know. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. A quick break, then right back to all your calls. 6870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let me get back to the busy phone lines here. We're going to go over to my friend Bruce. Hey, Bruce. Welcome to the Pet Show. How are you today?
Hey, Dr. Warren. How are you?
I could not be better, Bruce. How can I help you?
Yeah, thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure. What's up?
I have my dog on the flea medication that she takes, and she used to take Cordelia, and now she's taking a different one, but she won't take this one. And I've tried everything. I've tried putting it in pill pockets, and I put it in peanut butter. She just licks the peanut butter off of it. She eats the pill pocket from around it, and she just won't take this one.
Did you speak to the vet that you got it from, and did he give you any recommendations in terms of getting her to take it?
She just said pill pockets are bring it in, pay her a fee, and she'll administer it.
Okay, there's a couple of things that you can do. Number one is I would run by the vet the possibility of taking the same medication to a compounding pharmacy and perhaps having them make it into a flavor that your dog really likes. That's a possibility. I don't know why more vets don't recommend compounding pharmacies to their clients that have dogs and cats that won't take their medication. In many cases, that's been the answer for me in terms of giving animals medication, is using a compounding pharmacy. However, there's a product on the market that I've been talking about now for maybe the past month or two. You know my friends at Lucy Pet Products. You heard me talk about kitty lickies. They have a new product called Doggy Lickies. And the Doggy Lickies are absolutely amazing. It's kind of like how can I describe Doggy Lickies? It's kind of like you can kind of put it on top of the pill. You know what? Let me do this. How about I send you some doggy lickies? And I think it might make all the difference in the world. If it were me, probably what your vet will be doing is opening the dog's mouth, putting the pill in the mouth, closing the dog's muzzle, holding it shut, and massaging the throat to make the dog swallow. That's going to make the dog hate the pill even more. So, my feeling is this.
I don't
Of course not. So speak to your vet about another form of that pill. Maybe she can recommend a compounding pharmacy, or I'm going to send you the kitty lickies. Let's give that a shot, see if that doesn't make a difference. But what good is a pill if the dog isn't going to take it? So I'm going to send you the kitty lickies. I'm sorry, the doggy lickies, not kitty. I'm sending you doggy lickies, and I want to make sure that we got the right thing coming out to you. But I want you to run that by your vet in terms of seeing if she can recommend a compounding pharmacy for you.
Okay. All right.
Hey, so Bruce, let me ask you a question. While I got you, what type of dog do you have?
A poodle pointer.
A poodle pointer, a PP dog, a poodle pointer. And do you have pet insurance?
No, I don't.
Is it something you would consider?
I haven't.
You haven't done it yet. Yeah. Well, when you do it, you'll give me a call back. We'll go further. In the meantime, don't go anywhere. I'm going to put you on hold. And the lovely Suzette. Alex, don't get jealous because I'm calling her the lovely Suzette. The lovely Suzette will pick up and we will send you some doggy lickies from my good friends over at Lucy Pet Products. Hey, the phone number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. I'm going to get to you, Kim. I'm going to get to you, Kathy, as well. But let me just say this. No one that I know has more respect for veterinarians than I do. I deal with them every single day, by the dozens. In fact, my dogs are going in on Wednesday, actually. And here's the bottom line. I believe that more people need to, and I don't know why more vets don't recommend compounding pharmacies. How many times have you heard people call me here on the radio show saying, my vet gave me pills to give my dog, it won't take them. My vet gave me liquid to give my cat, the cat won't take them. I really believe that just, pill pockets are fine if they work. They're useless if they don't. And that's why I recommended doggy lickies or compounding pharmacy. There are so many medical issues that can be resolved with the right medication. However, you have to make sure that you can give your dog or cat that right medication. What is that right medication, and how do you give it to them? I remember as a kid, when I was growing up, I wonder if anyone else grew up like this. And if I got sick and I had to take, I think at the time, here's my memory, St. Joseph's baby aspirin. Anybody remember St. Joseph's baby aspirin? And my mother would take the aspirin and break it up, put it in a spoon, and put some sugar in the spoon with the aspirin. It's the only way she can get me to take it. Or as if it was really sweet and I wanted to take it that way. So, it's kind of interesting that more and more people use compounding pharmacies for themselves, but they can make medicine taste like tuna, chicken, whatever they want. I don't know. It never amazes me and ceases to amaze me. Hey, the phone, Kathy, I'm going to take a break and get to Kathy and Kim. I don't want to waste anyone's time, so I want to make sure I got plenty of time to talk to you guys. The phone number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Before we get to you, that last break, and when I come back, Kathy and Kim, I do have some open lines, so if you want to call me now, it's a good time. Dogs are replacing friends and confidants as people's first choice. Men and women actually revealed in a new study by Furbo who's the most important to their happiness. Let me give you some of the results. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll hold off. But I think you're going to be shocked at who men and who women say have the biggest impact on their personal happiness. Is it their significant other? Is it their best friends? Is it their children? Is it their grandchildren? I don't know. We'll talk about that when we come back. I got the numbers for you. Again, the number here, 866-870-KRLA. I know it's hot outside. Folks, please be careful. Remember the 7-second rule. Walk outside. If you can't keep your foot or hand on the ground for 7 seconds, it's too hot for your dog. So make sure you check that out carefully. Try to get your dogs outside either earlier in the day or after the sun goes down. Use common sense. We got plenty of time for your calls. Lots of great stuff to give away. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. I want you to listen to me carefully now. And we are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. 866-870-CAROL. Let me get right back to the phones. I'm going to take you guys in order. We're going to go to Kathy, then Phil, then Sharon. But right now it is Kathy in Glendale. Hey, Kathy, welcome to the Pet Show.
Hi, Warren. Warren Eckstein, best radio show on the air.
Listen, I agree with you. My engineer Alex may not agree with you, but I agree with you.
No, best show. I've been following you for years, Warren.
God, am I feeling old today?
Warren, you were looking for some kind of word to sum up doggy lickies, which I just tried, and I bought all 3 flavors from Lucy Pet. And you could describe them as candy for dogs.
There you go.
They'll love it.
I know. My dogs are absolutely thrilled, and that's why I recommended it for that dog that wouldn't take its flea medication.
Oh no, they'll all love it. Warren, I just wanted to bring up a comment I adopted. Last time we spoke was probably about 2 years ago, when at that time I had my little Charlie. My little guy was only 130 pounds of pure love, a white American bulldog that I adopted, and unfortunately, my little sweetheart passed away from a brain tumor, and it was inoperable. So I stayed with him, and I had to make the final decision. And
bless
you. He's in heaven now. And then 3 months later, animals bond, I think, sometimes more than people do. My sweet little Maggie, a little boxer, also adopted from a shelter, she passed away. I was treating her. She was undergoing treatment for pancreatic cancer for 3 years. But when she lost her best friend, she just physically and mentally shut down.
Sure.
So again, I made the decision. And at that point, Warren, the house was so empty, so lonely, because the first little pup I had in my life, I was 3 years old, and my parents adopted a 3-month-old boxer named Mackie. And being an only child, we grew up together. So I've always had them in my life, and I've always adopted from shelters and rescues. But I just wanted to bring one thing up. After I waited 3 months, and I called the director over at Pasadena Humane, and I simply asked, and not knowing if it would be a boy or a girl, or what type of dog. I've always had large dogs, but never the small ones. But I asked him who's been there the longest and who's the oldest. And he told me the history of one, and she was brought back to Pasadena Humane twice, and she was also a stray for a short bit. But she's a Staffordshire Terrier. She's 10 years old now. She's the love of my life. I have to be very honest with you. If I took a look at her, and surprisingly enough, a young couple walked by her, and she growled at them, and she wasn't happy. She wasn't basically happy with anyone because of her abused background, her neglected background. And she, again, she's a sweetheart now. I said to the director, she barked at them, and when I looked at her with the gentleman, she didn't bark. She just looked at me, kind of sizing me up. And then I mentioned to him, she probably isn't reacting because I'm with you, and she trusts you. So could I look at her alone? And I did. And she didn't move a muscle. She just looked at me and gave me a kind of look. So,
like, Kathy, let me ask you a question.
Whatever.
Okay?
Yes, Warren.
Is she a Staffordshire Terrier or an American Staffordshire Terrier?
She's a Staffordshire Terrier and probably a little bit of a lab mix.
Okay, so she's smaller because I had trained and lived with the Tig, the Buster Brown dog, which was an American Staffordshire Terrier, which was on top of kids his whole life, and he just loved kids. So yeah, you can't. It's so difficult to judge behavior when a dog is incarcerated at a shelter, and that's why so many shelters. They try. So many shelters
they try
really
to take care of them, but they are locked up.
But they're overwhelmed because people just don't spay, they don't neuter, that whatever. The thing to remember is more and more shelters now have outdoor areas or indoor areas, where people can spend time with the dog away from the other dogs in a comfortable area. You know, having a dog that growls or barks or makes noise when you have other dogs around them barking and jumping and people walking by, you can't judge the behavior on that. And literally, and now you're going to really make me cry, and I'll tell you why. As many years as I spent going up and down the alleys and shelters, I have seen more dogs and more cats passed up that were incredible dogs and cats. Would have made the most amazing pets in the world. But because of their and I'm talking about before a lot of the shelters changed, before they became more humane. This is going back years ago. And I would come out, and my first wife faced you, what's wrong with you? You look like you just saw the dead. And I said, I did. I'm watching all these beautiful dogs. I'm watching all these beautiful dogs. I'm watching all these beautiful cats that are going to be killed. And there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. And that's when I knew. And that's kind of what started the Hugs and Kisses Animal Fund. Anyway, I'm sorry I went off on a little bit of tangent, but you're absolutely right. You can't judge them that way. And I'm glad this dog turned out to be great.
And you've worked with staffies. They're extremely intelligent. She's very independent. She doesn't like dogs, but she's doing much better. And she doesn't go berserk when she sees a dog anymore. She was attacked by a dog because she has a hematoma on her right ear that's healed over. But I just wanted to mention that we do have to give them a chance. It took 3 months, and she didn't like men. And what I've done is I've taken her out to stores and shops that are dog-friendly, and I try to do that every day since I adopted her because I just wanted her to know that there are people out there. No one will ever hurt you again. And in the beginning,
that's what they need to know.
Her tail tucked in, her head down.
Kathy,
Warren,
no, I don't want to move on. Yeah, no, I got to move on, but I got to tell you, I agree with you 100%.
Warren, before I let you go, and before you let me go, rather, I just have to mention she was in the shelter for 2 years because no one wanted to adopt her because she growled and barked at everyone. But I told the director, I don't care. I made a commitment. We spoke over the phone. I didn't even see her, but I would have taken her. I just would have asked someone to put her in my car, and then I'd take it from there. But Warren, there's a heck of a difference with her. She loves people now. People can pet her. She gives people kisses.
There you go.
She wags her tail. She jumps over. She wants attention
it's like,
from people.
It's what I've been saying for years. There's not a dog or cat that doesn't come out of a shelter that ultimately realizes that that person or that family saved their lives and paid them back every day for the rest of theirs. Absolutely. I got to move on, but what a great call.
She didn't really trust me, and then one day, and then I'll stop talking. I'm Irish, and they love to talk. She came from her bedroom. The radio was on. She came in the kitchen. I was sitting in a chair, and Warren, she looked at me, and then she jumped on me and started kissing my face. And she knew this is it. This is my home. You're my mom.
Kathy, what an incredible story. But let me just tell you, I'm going to put you on hold because I want to send you a T-shirt that says none of my friends will cooperate. But before I do that, Staffordshire Terrier, just mark my words here. This dog can stand perfectly still and jump directly up in the air like a rocket. Staff and Amstaffs are known for. Great call, but I love my listeners. You guys are absolutely incredible. Let me take a break. When we come back, Phil, Sharon, Gary will get to your calls. A quick break, then right back at you. I'm Warren Eckstein. You're listening to The Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. So this study came out. I'll get right to your calls. This study came out. Who has the biggest impact on a person's happiness? According to men, 73% of men said dogs. 90% of women said dogs. In terms of their partner, 63% of men said their partner has the biggest impact. 48% of women said their partner had the biggest impact. In terms of children, 29% of men said they had a big impact. 33% of women said they had a big impact. Friends, 16% had an impact for men, 24% for women. Grandkids, 14% for men, 11% for women. The thing that gets me the most, who has the biggest impact on a person's happiness? Dogs. 74% of men said it was dogs. 91% of women. Guys, we are doing something wrong. Let me get back to the busy phone lines here on the Pet Show. Let's go to my friend Phil in Sherman Oaks. Hey, Phil, welcome to the Pet Show.
Call.
Hey, Phil. How you doing?
And I agree with that statistic you just quoted, but don't tell my wife.
I would never say a word, I promise, Phil.
Anyway, I have a shelter rescue about anywhere from 11 to 13-year-old schnoodle, Schnauzer Poodle mix.
That was one of the first. That was one of the first designer
healthy,
breeds.
No diabetes. The only thing that she's compromised now with is cataracts. She has mature cataracts.
Yeah.
I took her to a dog ophthalmologist here about a week ago and got a lot of information. She has normal eye pressure, so risk of glaucoma is low, at least at this time. The cornea is normal, and so she gets around the house fine. If there's a couch there, she jumps up on it. She recognizes it. She goes in and out of her dog door. If she's in the front room, looks out the window, and somebody's walking their dog, she'll bark. That's like 60 feet away from that window on the sidewalk. And so her quality of life, adjusting to this loss of vision with the cataracts, is, I would say, relatively good now. So someone mentioned to me, well, they have cataract surgery for dogs. So I did explore that with this vet, and I'm just wondering. I wanted to get the benefit of your experience with dogs in terms of dogs that have had surgery, or how they get along, if they still can function and see some light and dark shadow with cataracts. Get your comments on that.
Well, it's interesting. I'm more of a behaviorist, and I think the concept is, over the years I've had the opportunity of working with many dogs that had cataract surgery that did phenomenally well, and I'm so glad that you went to see a veterinary ophthalmologist. A lot of people would never even think that they have veterinary ophthalmologists.
There's only like 400 in the whole country.
Yeah, and luckily you live in Los Angeles, so they're by. But if you lived in Iowa, you'd be tough to find one. At this point, the fact, I would just stick to his advice. Stick to his advice. What does he say?
Well, a gal, actually, she's saying she leaves it totally up to me. I've done some research and looking at all the potential complications of the surgery, which of course there are some. The success rate is very high. I mean, at 85-90%, it is quite successvel. But considering her age,
that was my point. Considering she's 30,
maybe 15, 18 years old, so which means, well, she's got another 2 to 5 years to go. I think as long as she can still get around and not bump into things and not totally blind, I think maybe my tendency at this point is to just stay the course here with this.
Phil, let me give you the
surgery. I mean,
let me give you an answer. Let me give you an answer that's kind of a little bit confusing. Okay, on one perspective, I'm agreeing with you. Leaving well enough alone. She's adapting well. She's doing fine. She's a senior dog. Leaving well enough alone is fine. Her quality of life seems really, really good. In some cases, other people might recommend, do the surgery now while she still has some sight. It might make it easier to make the transition. That's it. And I got to agree with you, Vet. That's a transition you got to make, a decision you got to make. But in terms of, let me answer the question. If this were my dog and there were no pain involved and she was 13 years old and her quality of life has not really changed much at all, I personally would leave well enough alone. Now, if pain developed or other problems developed, that's a different ballgame. But as long as vet is saying she's healthy, she's fine, she's got the cataracts, the pressure's fine, there's no pain there, 13-year-old dog, I don't know if I would put him through the surgery unless it was an absolute necessity due to other complications.
Yeah, okay. Good. Yeah, I know that there is one kind of an extreme adverse reaction where the lens that they put in, there can be a very powerful immune response to try to reject that lens.
Yeah, well, that's why I say it's such
an... In those cases, they have to put them on an anti-rejection drug like cyclosporin, something like that.
It's so important. I'm so glad you have your regular vet, you have a veterinary ophthalmologist you're working with. Follow your heart on this, all right? If you notice changes, then you're going to have to make some decisions maybe down the road. But right now, I think as long as the vet gives you a clean bill of health and says, listen, everything's fine right now, there's no pressure, there's no pain, I would leave well enough alone, Phil.
Great. All right. Well, I highly respect your opinion, and that's gives me some added confidence to.
Well, you give you give that puppy a big hug and a kiss. I'm going to put you on hold right now, and I am going to send you for your dog. I'm going to send you some, what do I want to send you? I'm going to send you some hugs and kisses for your dog. 13 years old. Maybe it'll help as much as we possibly can. God, you people love your animals. I love you guys. You're amazing. I never tell you. I get the act, oh, Warren, we love you. Warren, respect you. Yeah, I get it. Okay. But I love you guys. You guys are absolutely some of the most amazing people. I've been talking to you guys now for almost 45 years, and the day does not go by. I don't feel blessed to know you guys. And not being the most spiritual person in the world, but I got to tell you, it's you that keep me going every single day because of your concern, your love, your emotional attraction. You make me feel almost normal. 866-870-KRLA. Let me take a quick break, then we'll get back to your phone calls. Speaking about normal, you just heard me give some hugs and kisses away. We are back on the Pet Show. Here's my dilemma. I have Sharon on the line from San Pedro, and Sharon has a rescue dog from China, but the dog has anxiety. Sharon, I only have a few minutes left on this show, so please write this number down. I want to take you as my first call on my national show, which starts at 1 o'clock. I don't want to rush you. That's why I want to... Gary, you hang in there. Sharon, write this... And anyone out there has questions, write this number down. This is my national Radio America Armed Forces radio show. Starts at 1 o'clock. You can start calling then. That phone number is different, so write it down. 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255. The reason I want to hold you off till the next show, Sharon, is because it's a really interesting call. A rescue dog from China has anxiety. I don't want to run out of time. I want to spend as much time as I can with you. So call that number starting at 1 o'clock. Remember, let it ring, let it ring, let it ring. It's got to go into Washington, D.C., and there's also a toll-free call, so don't worry about the cost. So we'll get to you there, Sharon. Same thing with you, Gary. I was going to answer you, but I only got like a minute and a half left. Gary has a question about his experience with pet insurance. I'm going to ask the same question on the network show. Gary, give me a call there. I send away the same type of gifts. I got the hugs and kisses to give away, Lucy pet food, kitty lickies, doggy lickies, T-shirts. It's the same type of show. I give away the same type of gifts, be similar topics as well. So everyone write this number down. You can start calling at 1 o'clock, but remember, let it ring, ring, ring. The phone number 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255. So here's what I want you to do. I'm going to give you this number. Not this number, but I want you to go to my YouTube channel. This is my new YouTube channel. When I say new, it's been around, but I'm really making it a lot busier than it used to be. Check out youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. Subscribe. It's free. Lots of great info there. In the meantime, if you have a question, you can start calling this number now, 877-725-8255. Until next week, give all your pets a big hug and a kiss for you. One right between the ears for me. I'm Warren Eckstein, and thank you again for listening to The Pet Show.